Hey y'all, this is Jen, and I'm so happy to be able to share this video with you. Over the summer, my family and myself were able to take 2 trips to Alleghany County, North Carolina, and while we were there, I was able to film. This video is so special for us because we actually grew up in Alleghany County on a farm, and we had goats, chickens, ducks, guineas, and cows. We had a lot of animals, and there really are a lot of sweet, wonderful people that reside in Alleghany County, and I hope that you'll enjoy this video. So here we are at Laurel Glen Regular Baptist Church Cemetery, and I actually have many family members that are buried in this cemetery. My Grandpa John, my Grandma Gladys, my brother Michael, and my dad Louis are all buried here. While I was filming, a white rooster actually walked into the cemetery. It is a farming community. There are several farms around there. Here is a shot of me, my mom Margaret, and my Aunt Reba and my Aunt Jerlane. And we were all standing behind my Grandpa John's grave, my Grandma Gladys's grave, and my brother Michael's grave. Of course, the rooster just had to be a part of this shot. Here's a shot that I took of my mom Margaret, my brother Frank, and my Aunt Reba and my Aunt Jerlene. And that's a shot of my dad's grave. Here is a shot of Laurel Glen Regular Baptist Church, and you know this video is very special. This church is really special to my family because my great-great-grandparents, my grandparents, my parents, a lot of my family members went to this church. My aunts, my great aunt, my uncle, they were all members of this church, and sadly services are no longer being held in this church. I really wish that I would have been able to have went inside and filmed inside, but sadly the door was locked and we weren't able to get inside. So as you can tell with this, it does need to be painted. Hopefully soon we'll be able to get this church painted, and the roof needs some work. So it is a very old church, and it holds a lot of memories for my family. There have been many funerals of our family members that were held in this church. In fact, my Grandpa John's funeral was held in there. Here is a shot that my brother was able to get of me, my mom Margaret, and my Aunt Reba and my Aunt Jerlene standing in front of the church. Here's a shot that I took of my brother Frank, my mom Margaret, and my Aunt Reba and my Aunt Charlene standing in front of the church. This was just me walking around the church. Actually, across the road from the church, there's an African American cemetery that's extremely old, and this church was also used every other Sunday for African Americans as well. I mean, in this community, you're not going to find a whole lot of racism. I mean, people just kind of get along with everybody else. Race really isn't an issue, which in my opinion is the way it ought to be, because I don't think anybody should be judged based on their skin color. It's not fair to judge people based on who they are, where they came from, or what the color of their skin is. Okay, here is a video that I was able to get of the land that my mom Margaret, my Aunt Reba, my Aunt Charlene, and my Uncle Mac grew up on. There actually was an old farmhouse that they grew up in, and it sadly burned down before I was ever even able to see it. It burned up before I was ever born. But that's the house that they grew up in, and they farmed this land. And here's a shot that I took of us driving up Main Street. There's the pharmacy. Hardware store. And here is a very special video that I was able to shoot. This is a video of the house on the rock, and it's actually the house that my great-great-grandparents, Granville and Jemima, lived in, and also my great-grandparents, my great-grandmother, Annis, lived in this house. My grandmother lived in this house, my great-aunts. I had several great-uncles that lived in this house. So many family members lived in this house. There were many Christmases and birthdays that were celebrated in this house, and many kids were raised in this house. It's over 130 years old, so it's very old. Here's the shot that I took of it through the trees that are in front of it. And here you can see it a lot more clear. We were actually standing on the bridge when I took this shot. As you can tell, it's a really old house. And here's the front of it. Luckily, we were able to go into it when we went there this time. We were able to go inside of it. And it's very old. I wouldn't go upstairs in it, but it's okay to go around downstairs in it. And here's why it's called the House on the Rock, because it sits on a solid rock foundation. The rock goes all the way under it. I mean, it's just a solid rock foundation. Here in this shot, you can actually see the rock. And this was me actually standing on the rock. And here's another shot that I was able to get of it. I just love the flower bed that's in the yard. It's really pretty. And here is the inside of it. My great-great-grandmother Jemima actually passed away in this house. She actually passed away in this first room that you see here off to the right. There's the stairs. But this room right here is the room that she actually passed away in. She really loved this house, and she didn't want to go to the hospital, and she wanted to die at home, and she got her wish. That's what she wanted. And here's the flower bed in the front yard. It's so pretty. This is a very peaceful spot. I mean, this house is in a beautiful location. It really is. Little River actually runs alongside this house. And in fact, here is Little River. I was actually walking down the bridge when I was filming. My dad, my second cousins, my great-grandpa, my grandpa, I mean, they all love this place, and fishing here. I mean, they love to fish here. And here we are at the Whitehead Union Baptist Church Cemetery, and I also have many family members that are buried here. In fact, Jemima and her husband McKinley is buried here, and they're my great-great-grandparents. My great-grandparents, Anna, she's buried here as well. My grandma Lula and my uncle Daynard is buried here. And sadly, Daynard drowned when he was only 15. I never got to meet him. He was my dad's older brother. My great-great-grandfather, Granville, he's also buried here, alongside his wife, Jemima, and everybody called her Ma. She was just, from everything I've ever heard about her, she was a really wonderful person. She was an amazing cook, according to everything that my mom has told me and my two aunts have told me. She was an amazing cook and a really wonderful person, too. And here's a shot of me and my mom. And we were standing at my Grandma Lula and my Uncle Daynard's grave. And here's a shot that I was able to get of my brother Frank and my mom. And here's my great-grandparents' graves. And here is my great-great-grandparents' graves, Jemima and Granville. And this is my mom. It was very windy. This cemetery sits on top of a hill, and I haven't been there one time that it's not been really windy. It's such a pretty cemetery. I mean, it really is. Sitting on top of a hill, I mean, you can see for a long ways, and it is really pretty. And here's a shot of me and my mom together at my great-great-grandparents' grave. And here's a shot of my brother Frank and my mom at my great-great-grandparents' grave. And here is a video of my Aunt Reba and my Aunt Jerlene. They're standing in front of my great-great-grandparents' grave. It will be their great-grandparents. And here they are standing at my great-grandparents' grave. This would be their grandparents' grave, Annis and McKinley. And here they are at my Uncle Daynard and my Grandma Lula's graves. And here is a video that I was able to get of the farm that my parents had for a long time. And there's actually an old farmhouse that's still standing. We didn't go to it, and it would be really dangerous to go into this farmhouse. It's really old, and it would just be really dangerous to go inside of it. So I just filmed from the road. It's a pretty good distance to the house, but you can still see it some. And here's a video of the woods that my dad and my brother liked to hunt in. And this was at Landmark Baptist Church. And here is a video of the house that my parents lived in when they were newlyweds. They were married for many, many years, and were still married when my dad passed away in 2005. And here's a video of the house that my great-grandparents lived in for a long time. In fact, my great-grandmother Annis passed away in this house. It's actually falling in now. There was no way we could go in it. The roof on the front porch is falling in, so there's no way we could go in it. As you can clearly see, there's no way to go inside this house. And here was actually a short video that I was able to get of the store that my Grandpa John's cousin owned. And here's a video of some land that my parents farmed. And that's all we've ever done. We've just always been farmers.